What's up guys, this is Yasin, and today we're going to be going over the K9 Vanquish soul deck, so a few combos as well as the deck profile. And I'm not going to lie, I think this deck might very well be the best deck of the format, even though a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, but it's still going to be Eraziel, Malice, and potentially even Yummy that are going to be better than Vanquish Soul. But I don't know, I mean, this deck already won the European WCQ without the K9 cards, so, you know, the K9 cards are broken in this deck, so you really think the deck is not going to get significantly better? Nah, I think this deck is absolutely correct, ultra powerful, and it can even make some half boards even if you don't draw, like, the Vanquish Soul cards. The only drawback, I guess, is that compared to, like, the Crystron deck, the K9 cards do not bridge into the Vanquish Soul stuff. I mean, I've heard, like, of a way that you can, but it's really fake. Like, you gotta play a lot of weird cards. We're gonna be focusing on realistic combos that are also showcased in the Vanquish Soul K9, rather the K9 spreadsheet that Lucas Sacco and I have developed. So it's on my website, yacineygo.com. Very first link at the top of the description box below. And the K9 spreadsheet features 63 Vanquish Soul combos as well as a bunch of K9 Crystron combos. I really recommend checking it out. And you can also check out the full Justice Hunter spreadsheet for 35. You get access to every single spreadsheet. So it's 225 combos. Really worth it. Recommend it. But anyways, let's get right into it. Okay, so combo number 1, we have Mad Love as well as a Fire Monster. So look at what we can do. So normal summon the Mad Love, search your deck for the field spell, Vanquish will start. I guess it is unfortunate that this does play into Droll, but it is what it is. And we're going to be targeting the Mad Love in order to search the Holy Sue. And then we're going to be linking off into the the Rock of the Vanquisher. So recycle back the Mad Love. And then we can use the effect of Holy Sue to reveal the Mad Love and then summon it. And now we've got a Dark and a Fire. And then you can reveal both of these monsters in order to summon, of course, Raisin from the deck. And that is going to be searching for the Heavy Burger. And then we can actually just call it a turn because this is force summon, so you don't want to play into Nibiru for no good reason. Even though it might be tempting to go for Heavy Burger or just to draw a card on your own turn, that's just a risk that you do not have to take. And we're going to be setting the Snow Devil. It's already like, it's going to be ready to like destroy everything because it's very easy to search like an Earth monster with the Raisin on the opponent's turn, and that's always going to be the Caesar. And yeah, on the opponent's turn, you can bounce back like the Raisin in order to summon the Heavy Burger. You can draw a card, or you can burn your opponent, and then special summon the Raisin off of the Rock of the Vanquisher. I really recommend summoning it always in the other extra monster zone, just so that if your opponent summons another Link monster, since you're occupying this one, you can destroy it right away. And then by revealing a Dark as well as a Fire, you can destroy a monster with a Raisin, and then bounce back the Holy Sue in order to have like an Earth, a Dark, and a Fire, not only for the Caesar so that you can destroy a card, but also for the Snow Devil. So yeah, this is 5 or something disruptions because we've got the Raisin that can destroy, we've got the Holy Sue that can steal or that can special summon like a Mad Love and then bounce, we've got the Caesar that can destroy a card, we've got the Snow Devil that is a Regeki. It's just absolutely insane. And also the follow-up is like what's really disgusting with this deck. So that's it for combo number 1. Let's get into combo number 2. So this time for combo number 2, we've got Vanquish Soul Raisin as well as Vanquish Soul, K9 Joe Cool. It's basically a Vanquish Soul monster at this point because it synergizes so well with like basically anything that you can search with Raisin. Like you search Jiaolong, that is your level 5, you search Holy Sue, or you can even search like Mad Love, which gets you to your field spell, which searches you a monster. So it's completely insane. But yeah, recycle back your Raisin with the Link 1, and then reveal the Joe Cool to summon the Holy Sue. So this one, this is 4 summons, so we're also safe from Nibiru. And then search your deck for the Lantern. And then we can special summon the Mad Love, or we can go like straight away for like a Ripper. But also the thing is, even if we get nibbed at this point, honestly, it's not really the end of the world because we've got the Lantern in order to like recover, and we can keep playing, so it's really not like too bad. But yeah, now we can go Ripper in order to search the Izuna, and then special summon the Lantern from the deck, from the hand, revive back the Joe Cool, and then search your deck for Case of K9. Search like another Joe Cool or like an Izuna maybe for next turn, and then go into the Nash Knight in order to transform yourself into the CXC's Nash Knight, overlay, well, equip the Masquerade underneath, and then transform into this number C104 Umbral Horror Masquerade. And this card's really interesting because whenever it's special summoned, you can target a spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. So we can destroy our own Case of K9 and then set the X-Force Liberation from the deck. So that's completely filthy. And then the field spell can target the Mad Love so that you can search your deck for the Holy Sue. We can summon it and then set the trap card, and then we can obviously do like even more disruptions on the opponent's turn. So just the setup of like Ripper, X-Force, and Izuna is already 4 disruptions. Also have the number C104 Umbral Horror Masquerade, which is like the best disruption in the entire game. It's like it negates a monster effect on the field, it halves the opponent's life points, and then it randomly discards a card from the opponent's hand. And we also summon the Werewolf, which rips another card. So we're basically just double hand looping the opponent, and then we're regeking the board. This is obviously always the last interruption you want to do because you don't want to destroy your non-Vanquish Soul cards. And of course, like we've got all the attributes in the world, so that's the reason why Joe Cool was searched here, just to have that Dark monster. But if you already have one, you can go for another Izuna, and if your opponent hand trapped you, you can summon Izuna and make another rank 5. But yeah, that's it for this one. Let's get into the third and final combo. Okay, so in this one, we've got Staker Soul as well as Izuna, which is actually quite good. So special summon the Holy Stew, and then we're going to be normal summoning the Izuna, and then effect in order to foolish the Jokul from the deck to the grave, overlay into Ripper, search the Lantern. So we're basically hand trap proof at this point. If the opponent tries to like droll us or Nibiru us, it's not going to work anymore. So that's the cool thing about making like a very early on Ripper before you even get your first search. So if you have like a bunch of search cards and you got like this combination of cards, just make sure that you play it out in this sequence. But yeah, obviously search the Lantern so that you can revive back the Jokul, and then you can get double searches. So Izuna off of Jokul, and then Case of K9 off of the Lantern. And then this can search your deck for the Jokul, and then you can overlay for the Nash Knight, and then again the exact same trick where you go for the Masquerade, and then CXC's the CXC's Nash Knight that can overlay into like the Umbral Horror Masquerade, and then destroy the Case of K9 to set the X-Force Liberation. So even with like a very like not good attribute, because we had to reveal Izuna, which is an Earth, it's not the best. It doesn't really summon any real Vanquish. So I mean, it summons Holy Stew, which is broken in case you have something to reveal, but if you don't, then you can still end on all of this, which is 5 disruptions. Yeah, I'll take that any day of the week. Alrighty, for the deck profile, this is a pretty decent list. Oh my bad. But yeah, I'm gonna try to make it like short and sweet, just so that we don't have to like over-explain things that are pretty simple. So we're playing a decent amount of starters. I think this is like the better way to like explain it. So we've got like 13 instant starters, I guess you can say, if you have got like a Fire and a Dark for Holy Stew. Otherwise, like, Raisin, Mad Love, Staker Soul, Reinforcement of the Army, Prosperity. These cards are almost like guaranteed to like get your stuff going. There's a lot of like free cards that you can always banish, like the Typhon, or like one of the Nash Knight like equips, and then you can also banish like Imperial Princess Skin Query, or like Paradise Smasher, the Vanquish Soul Rocks. Like those cards don't really come up too often. So this is the kind of deck that, unlike Yummy, you can banish 6 cards. Yummy, like if you banish 6, like you've got no grind game. It's much harder to do. But yeah, it's still pretty consistent, like I said. I really do recommend playing 3 Jiaolong, because you do need more level 5 monsters, and you also need a lot of Vanquish Soul cards. And even like in the OCG, I've been seeing a lot of like double Caesar and sometimes triple Burger. I think that might be a little overkill, but maybe consider like 2 Caesar, 2 Burger, or like 3 Burger, 1 Caesar. But I usually like having like more diverse like ratios, so like 2 and 2 makes more sense to me if you want to go like a little more ham on the Vanquish Soul cards. But even then, like if you want to play like full gas, you can definitely do that. And then obviously when Failed Spell, 1 Trap, sometimes like when people have Mad Love and the start, what they do is that they go normal summon Mad Love, no effect, and then activate the star target, and then search a monster, then if they get drooled, it's not the end of the world. Or sometimes they go normal summon Mad Love effect, and then they hope they get impermed or ashed, because people will do that because they're scared that your field spell, if you have access to it, even if like it gets ashed, you can still set the trap card. But this is like a perfect opportunity for you to bait your opponent, just that you play harder into Drool, so that's something to keep into consideration. But yeah, anyways, 1 Shifter, which is kind of like Exodia against every deck except this deck, and obviously against Malice. And you can play Kurikara or Doggoran as a searchable out to, I mean, kind of searchable out in a way, to Liger Dancer if you play Hita, because you can crash it and then search this, or search Doggoran because it has 1200 defense, so a very nice option to consider. And then for the hand traps, I mean, we play 12 hand traps in total, so 3 Ash, 3, I mean, I guess with the Shifter, so that's 13. But yeah, 3 Ash, 3 Izuna, 3 Mochimi Fueros, which I guess is the only one that doesn't have, like, real synergy, because this is Fire, this is Earth, which is, I guess, the worst attribute, but still somewhat necessary for your Caesar and for your Snow Devil, and sometimes, like, for the Steal of Holy Stew, or, like, even for the Bounce of Mad Love. It can matter. But yeah, obviously, this is a win, so it doesn't really do anything, but it's either this or you play Droll, because Droll is also like a super broken hand trap this format, and also it's very good in the mirror match. It's much better than I anticipated. But if you're really good at the game, or if you're really skillful and you physically hard roll the K9 stuff, it really doesn't hurt you at all, because you just like immediately start with a Ripper. But yeah, 1 X-Force Liberation, 1 Case of K9, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the main deck. And for the extra deck, we're playing 1 Typhon, 1 Nash Knight, 1 CXC's Nash Knight with the Umbral Horror package, the Silent Honor Dark. So this is a card that you theoretically could summon because it requires 3 level 5 monsters. It's just that realistically, nobody's really going to be, making this card too often. You can also play the Arc Rebellion Exige Dragon. That's another rank 5 that requires the 3 level 5 monsters. And the reason why I bring it up is because it is actually an in-engine way to beat Liger Dancer. And even if your opponent has like multiple Liger Dancers, it's not too bad, because he cannot be destroyed by card effects, and also he can like detach in order to like gain attack equal to like the total attack of all the other monsters on the field, which is completely broken. And it's not temporary, I think it's permanent. So you can run over a Liger Dancer, and then if your opponent cannot actually out the Arc Rebellion, which might happen if you actually have the gas to like stop the opponent from like making like another Liger Dancer, like making an SP to banish it, then you might actually make a comeback and win through multiple Liger Dancers if your opponent doesn't interact with your stuff correctly. Because, you know, you do have a lot of like, again, like level 5 monsters that are not, you know, the K9 stuff necessarily. So because I mentioned this because with Joe Cool and Lantern, sometimes it can be a little awkward, but fortunately Arc Rebellion is a dark, so it doesn't really matter too much. So there are a lot of nice, like, cool ways of making Arc Rebellion, and I do think it should be considered as an option. It's this card right here. Yeah, I don't know why it's like shown as like a an effect monster, but whatever. I'm gonna have to re-download these pictures. It's absolutely ugly. But yeah, whatever. The Ripper, the Werewolf, the Valon, of course, Emperor Princess. This honestly only really comes up when you're trying to rush for the Paradise Smasher when you get chummied. But yeah, you can hard punish your opponent for chumming you. I want to say like Droll is probably better than chummies against this deck. At least because you're shutting down a lot of things like the Ripper Search and also the Ripper Set for the X-Force Liberation. And it can be like really tough to make a Paradise Smasher and have like follow-up for next turn. So sometimes if you like survive the Paradise Smasher, you might actually make a comeback. It does depend on like the non-engine cards that you have. But if there are like board breakers or cards that can still play on the opponent's turn, you might be fine. If you're playing Yummy, you can be fine because you can make like the Link 1 and then summon a monster and then like call it a turn. And, you know, that's a lot of disruptions on the opponent's turn. So I actually think that Yummy, even with hand traps, it's very, very good into Paradise Smasher. So do not completely bank on this card. Like, if you summon this, you still need to be able to do other things, otherwise you might lose. But anyways, the Vanquish Soul Rocks, which, yeah, this card honestly doesn't come up too often. But if you play Zeus, it's not too bad because you can kind of just turn any Vanquish Soul into like a Zeus, which is kind of crazy. And Zeus really catches a lot of people off guard because sometimes you have like monsters or cards that are kind of indestructible by card effect. Like if you resolve this, then all of your Vanquish Souls are indestructible, so it can be really tough to like break a board. But with Zeus, you can definitely get rid of everything. And then obviously the SP as well as Double Rock of the Vanquisher. You can also play IP because that's another like end board piece, but I guess this build is like more Xyz oriented. Finally, for the idea section, I guess you can consider Molchimi Meows, which is another Earth Attribute monster. I think I've seen this card being main decked by a few Vanquish Soul players that top the European WCQ. So it's still, I mean, it's still a decent card, and it's actually quite good against Yummy, even as a board breaker. And you can actually draw a bunch of cards, like, if you use it as an actual hand trap on turn 1, because, you know, they revive back the monster, like, with a field spell, and also every single time they tag out with their synchro, you profit off of that. And you can also use it, of course, as a board breaker on your own turn. You start your turn directly with Molchimi Meows, and then you, like, they chain the Yummy Surprise, and then you go, like, activate Dark Ruler, and then everything is negated, and you kind of just win the game. So, yeah, it's a really nice card. If you want to play the Protoss package, you can. So Banshee, search Flag, and then search Protoss. But yeah, that's not going to be a thing post the ban list. So yeah, take advantage of this now before it's over. You can also make Galen Granite to search Nibiru, or like Dempsey in order to search the Raisin. So that's also something that we've seen quite a lot in the European WCQ. Fenrir with Rizard is another like okay-ish package. It's not the best, but it gets you like an Earth or a Fire like super easily. For Earth cards, I guess there's Ghost Bell, there's Pankratops, as well as Retelling Sea and Contact Sea. Retelling Sea is extremely good against Dragon Tail, and Contact Sea is extremely good against Yummy. And honestly, nobody's really respecting these two cards right now, so it can really work in your favor. If you want to respect Retelling Sea with Dragon Tail, you should play the K9 engine. If you want to respect Contact Sea and Yummy, you should play Cross Sheep as well as, I don't know, like Ossa, I guess you can say. Even then, it might not be enough. But anyways, Phantasme, that's a very good card in the mirror match because you do need to draw a lot of cards. Basically, like in the mirror, whoever has like the most card advantage usually wins because it's very easy to just make a comeback. Like even if your whole board gets picked apart, you can still survive on the opponent's turn with like Holy Sue and being able to like steal monsters, summon from deck, and just making a big comeback and summoning like still a bunch of monsters on the opponent's turn. It's a really cool thing that you can technically end on like no real like threats in your hand and still be able to just win on, or like at least survive an OTK, and then you can force your opponent to push, like, play into Nibiru, and then this time you win for real. So yeah, I think this is a great hand shove, this format. And finally, Droll and Logbird, which obviously is also very, very goated in the mirror match. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, a huge massive shoutouts to the K9 spreadsheet that we've made, which also includes Crystron combos, of course, right? You already know it, the best deck. But yeah, I really do recommend checking it out on my website, yacineygo.com. And again, I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.